Okay. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Welcome to Thursday's live stream. Hey, Adriana. Hey, Do Nothing. Welcome, guys. So I think we allowed enough time here to let people know that I'm live. Hopefully everyone got the notification. So the overall goal here for the live stream will be to go over what happened. Again, I've kind of explained everything of what and how I was able to predict that there will be a nice breakout, a nice bounce as well last night, and also how I predicted that there will be a nice falling wedge or a bull flag forming for most of Wednesday. Okay, so Tuesdays to Wednesday's price action really showed us that this nice falling wedge or bull flag. So with that in mind, the only reason why I expected us to go lower first and then have a nice bounce today is that, well, that's what we tend to do. Especially when we decide to chop, we tend to come all the way back down, right? Rejecting from a major level of resistance. And then we come all the way back down, and then we retest a major level of support, and then we bounce. That's what chop is, and that's what creates that range-bound trading, right? And that's why we see buyers and sellers just going at it. At support levels and resistance levels, and it's very, very clear-cut levels, and that's where a lot of people tend to avoid those type of price volatility between specific price ranges, because they want to make sure that they are playing during a nice trending breakout, right? Whether it be to the upside or to the downside. So that's another major reason why we are seeing volume just drop off completely since Monday of this week, right? Compared to Friday's volume, we just saw volume completely be decimated to the downside. And I even said yesterday that I'm going to expect today to have even a lower volume compared to yesterday's volume of 65.2 million. And today we got 63.7 million in volume, while the average continues to be around 106 million. So with that in mind, again, today I obviously called it out perfectly again. So hopefully you guys were able to watch the live last night and kind of get a good sense of what you guys should be expecting today, because we got that retest of a very important level of support at $406, or specifically $405.90, and then we moved slightly lower than that. Like I said yesterday night, that we will probably move below the low of the day of Wednesday, and then we'll see a good bounce to the upside. And that's exactly what we did for the entire day. And then we were able to reach that 409 level of resistance that we rejected off of multiple times on Tuesday. And what's interesting here is that we've actually stuck around this 409 level. Now, what I was expecting earlier today was that we would see a nice big rejection during power hour, which we did. We weren't able to hold above 49 during power hour, and then once the selling volume kind of kicked in, once you saw a little bit of a jump in volume here, as you guys can clearly see by these volume bars, right, during the power hour, the last hour of the market. We came back down to retest 408.50-ish area of support, right? So this is a level that I told my members that we should be looking out for, especially if we do see a pullback from 409, we'll get a nice 50-cent retracement back to the downside. And that's exactly what we did, and we created this support at 408.50. All right, so I'm just rounding it up here, right? I'm not going exactly specific on the level here, but 408.50 is the whole number level here that you guys want to be looking at on the intraday. I mean, even if you take a look at the past here, it was used as a level of support and resistance based on the previous candlesticks reactions on this 408.50 level. Now, what's interesting here with this close today was that we had a nice big buying volume to end the day, right? And obviously that's that doesn't really tell you much, but it can be indicative of what you can expect on Monday at open. Now, obviously, that's going to be determined by the overnight move that we get on Sunday when futures markets open, right? So, just solely based on today's close and the volume, I would expect us to continue higher. And what level should we be watching out for on Monday if we do continue higher? Well, first of all, number one reason why I think that we continue higher is that we have this nice bull flag, right? So on the 15-minute time frame, the 15-minute is my time frame that I love to use to look at the intraday time frames when I'm just usually looking at the daily, and we tend to get a lot of patterns forming. You can clearly see a lot of good patterns forming on the 15-minute time frame because you don't have that noise on the 5-minute or even on the 3-minute, right? Or even the 1-minute that people like to use, right? So the 15-minute really just gives you a good clarity on the charts and what you should be focusing on. And on the 15-minute, we're facing a nice bull flag. We have the impulse run up here when we broke above 407.50ish, or if you guys want to round up, 408, and then we were creating this flag for most of kind of the half of the rest of the day here. And so this bull flag eventually allowed us to close right at the level of resistance where I considered it to be an ideal close, right? And an ideal close for me was that we ideally close over $409, and the closing price today was $409.20. That's perfect for what could happen on Monday, right? And hey, welcome. So the next level of resistance that I expect us to reach is 410. Now, I still expect us to go a little bit higher and possibly to hit 410.50 before we see any significant rejection early next week. So this can happen all within a span of one trading day, right? So this can happen on just a Monday, or even possibly we can have a nice gap up to 410, a little push over to 410.50, and then fall right back down. Now, the only reason why, another reason why I'm saying this is that if you go on the daily time frame, right, and if you just want to take a look at the overall trend here, right, the 10 SMA is catching up quite well here thanks to this constructive pullback to the downside. And if you take a look at the RSI, we're not overbought yet. We shouldn't be getting a very rapid or just the volume-backed sell-off to the downside. There's no reason to be inferring that the market is going to just pull back really strongly, right? The RSI is showing it's 61, so we closed at a value of 61.03, and so the RSI tells you that there's still a lot more room left to run before we see some overbought conditions. And so if you go back to this specific area that I circled here, okay, just remember where we are, right? And if you just take a look at the prices that the pricer was basically chopping around, we have major levels of resistances around 412, 413.50, 414, 415, right? And ultimately, this pivot high point of $416.72. So there's still a good chance that we can even get up to this maximum point here, this pivot high point, before we even get to that really overbought conditions where we can see potentially a double top forming, right? Where this area will be the first top on the left, and then whatever happens next over here will be our second top, and then we get that rejection back down. All right. So again, I'm not expecting any type of a large move to the downside unless we have some sort of a big catalyst or big news event that tells us that we need to be bearish, right? And the market reacts horribly to the downside. But again, the RSI is very, very strong. We're seeing that the price action is strong. The price is relatively showing good relative strength based on what the RSI is telling us with the value of 61.03. And based on the intraday time frames, we are due to move higher until we retest intraday levels of resistances at 410 and 410.50. So next week, focus on these two levels, 410 and 410.50. And if we do see more volume coming in, if we do see continuous higher lows and higher highs, we can still get up to the previous high points that we made when we first had a nice that nice pullback. So around $411.35. Okay, so there is that possibility, this maximum target here, $411.35 here. So $411.35 could be our maximum target for SPY on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, right? So I'm just expecting this big move to happen earlier in the week of next week. Okay. Now, with that in mind, okay, I love the fact that we've been continuously hitting all the support levels, right? And we've been holding it. So that's what's different about this this breakout out of this 15-minute falling wedge or overall bull flag, right? Macro bull flag or micro falling wedge chart pattern. And they're both inherently bullish, right? And that's the reason why we got that nice bullish breakout. And also, if you guys just want to get more information, I mean, we also had a double bottom as well, right over here, right? We had this left bottom and then right bottom. The first one, second one. And we got that nice W-shaped pattern to have a nice breakout over this level of resistance around 407.80-ish, right? Or if you guys want to round up to 408. And ultimately, we continue to go higher and higher and higher. And then we form this nice bull flag. All right. And so that is what you guys should expect next week. If you decide to continue to move up and up and up, look out for resistances at 410, 410.50, and ultimately $411.35. All right, this is your ultimate level of resistance and ultimately the huge area of supply, since that's where we initially saw this big pullback to the downside. Okay, so that should make sense. That makes sense for everyone here. Okay, so hopefully that was that processed in your head, in you guys' head. So be on watch for this. SPY still has a lot of room to move. Again, we're in kind of a chop zone here compared to where I've highlighted here. This well, I've circled it here. That means that we can again range trade from major levels of support to major levels of resistance, and vice versa. All right. Okay, so does anyone have any tickers that they want to submit here for me to review for next week? Okay, Starbucks and Google, perfect. Oh, this is a good one, Adriana. Thank you. So this one, it's ultimately making a nice bull flag so far, and we have also remounted 100. So this is a key number, a psychological number that Starbucks needs to hold, and we have broken above it very impulsively as well. And so we skyrocketed higher, and now we're above a critical area of supply. So right over here, right, so between 102.50 to around 103.50, this area was a critical area of supply, right? And we broke below it, making it a huge area of supply. But now, with the current price action, we have broken above it, right? Above 103.50. So we broke the far top range of the supply area from 102.50 to 103.50. And for the fact that we've been holding above it and now consolidating right on top of it, tells me that this one wants to go higher. Plus, okay, plus, we are also riding above the daily 10 SMA. So last week on Friday, we remounted the 50 SMA, right? And thanks to this remount on the 50 SMA, we're now staying above it. Now, with that in mind, with the 50 SMA being a critical area of support right at the 103.50 as well, so this horizontal level is coinciding with the daily 50 SMA. This has allowed the price to consolidate, which in turn has allowed the 10 SMA to slowly start catching up. All right, so the short-term momentum is to the upside. How do we know this? Well, we have the 10 SMA crossing over the 21. This is a bullish indication here for a short-term momentum to the upside, right? And if it was the 10 SMA crossing below the 21, then that means the short-term momentum is to the downside, as we saw right over here. All right, so this is where we saw a cross, and this is when the price started to move lower. Okay, and so this one, as it's making a bull flag with plus the 10 SMA crossing over the 21 for a nice bullish crossover, and the price staying over 103.50 along with the coinciding the daily 50 SMA, tells me that there's a lot more room for this to move. So where can it go? So I expect at least 2 to 3 more days of consolidation, but if on Monday, if we see the market just absolutely still ripping to the upside, Starbucks can also be influenced to move to the upside, and we can see a retest of 106. Okay, so that's a nice 2-point move, well, a little less than 2-point move from today's close. And then ultimately, if we do decide to break over 106, then we will retest another major level of resistance on the daily here, around 107. Okay, 107. So this is a more established whole number level here. All right, so 107 and 106. That's my target there. But again, a huge level of resistance after we've conquered 103.50 is 106, right? And there's still a good possibility that we can just move sideways, right, between these two levels. So nice 3-point range for the price to kind of consolidate between, right? Okay, so Google. So this one has been extremely strong after news came out that its chips are more efficient and more green compared to NVIDIA's chips. And that's big news, right? Especially since Google is not a chip maker, right? And NVIDIA is. So if that news is true, then this can really provide some good move to the upside. Now, on Google, on the weekly time frame, right? I want to look at the weekly first, since we made such a large move. What's interesting here for me is that we are blasting upward, but the volume is staircasing down. So that is a little bit of a concern for me, especially, you know, if we want to see a continuation to the upside, a nice breakout to the upside, I want to see increasing volume, not decreasing volume. However, you know, the price action is telling us the truth here as we've been going up, so we'll continue to stay bullish. However, on the weekly time frame, we have closed right at a heavy area of supply. So this is a huge level, 108. Okay, 108. All right, it's a huge level of resistance. How do we know this? Well, we saw a double top here back in the transition from January to February, and also this 108 level was a huge level of support back in the summer of last year, right? And so if if we're able to hold above 108, there's a good chance that we can go up higher, right? But again, the volume has dropped off pretty rapidly here due to its kind of a staircase motion to the downside, right? So with that in mind, if you go to the daily time frame, right, Google is getting a bit overbought here. So once we hit that value of 70, which should be on Monday, if we do see that nice big abrupt move to the upside in the overall markets, and that will also bring Google along with it, we should probably see some sort of a rejection around 110, which is the next whole number level, right? And it was also used as a level around here, right? And eventually reject down, and we can also retest from that point forward to hit 108 and possibly use it as new support. But again, on the weekly, we're a little bit overextended. The weekly volume bars are staircasing down, so there is a reason to be a little bit bearish, or not really bearish, but short-term pullback to the downside, and possibly even retest the previous level of resistance of 103.50. All right, so Google, I still expect a nice move up to at least 110 come Monday. Because I am bullish on SPY, right? So if SPY goes up, then Google will go up as well. Only thing is that, Adriana, you have to be careful for the major areas of supply that Google is harboring above here, right? So in this previous area, right, you have to be concerned about all the supply that's still left here. There's a lot of sellers who are still here, right, standing idle, ready to push the price lower if the price continues to stay at overbought areas or overbought conditions. Okay, so those are your levels that you should be looking at for Google, and hopefully that analysis for Starbucks and Google was useful, especially if you decide to trade these two names on Monday. Okay, so hopefully that was a good guidance for you on Monday, especially if you're only taking a look at these two names. You should be completely fine with using only these two names, because Starbucks has a very, very nice bull flag, and Google has a very nice pivot point coming up here around 110. All right, sounds good. Does anyone else have any tickers that they want me to go over? Hopefully you guys take notes on those levels and draw them on your charts. But again, if you can't remember, just go back to the recording of this live. It will be automatically posted on the channel page after the stream is over. So make sure you guys always come back to the recording to, get a good understanding of the levels that I gave you guys while the live stream was live. Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Just try my best here for you all. Anything else, Adriana, that you want me to go over? Or will you be just focusing on those two takers? Again, there's nothing wrong with that. These two are providing great opportunities for next week. So hopefully you can tell me how it goes next week. Disney, good one. Yeah, so Disney is actually on the precipice of hitting that 100 mark, right? That psychological 100 level. So I saw this earlier today, and it was making a good flag here. a very, very nice micro bull flag, although a micro bull flag doesn't tend to provide good results. However, if you kind of look at the broader perspective here on Disney, right, if you go on the 4-hour or even on the 2-hour time frame, right, we're potentially dealing with a cup and handle, or even better yet, a nice inverted head and shoulders. All right, so this is what I saw earlier today. Okay, so this might be a micro bull flag here, but if you kind of look at the general perspective on things, we have an inverted head and shoulders. We have the inverted left shoulder, inverted head, and then inverted right shoulder right here. And so this very, very tight price action on Disney is looking quite good, as we're staying right underneath that psychological level of $100, but specifically on the intraday time frame, we have this 100.50 resistance that we need to break out of on Monday in order to head up higher and ultimately hold above that psychological 100 level. And we also have, well, if you use the logic that this is an inverted head and shoulders, we do have this neckline here, right? This descending level of resistance neckline for this overall inverted head and shoulders chart pattern. And so that would also mean that we need to break over 100.50 along with the convergence point of this descending level of resistance, or this neckline for this inverted head and shoulders. So again, we've been holding relatively really well around this 99 support level so far for the past 4 days, or actually the past 5 trading days here so far, the most recent trading days that created this micro bull flag, this micro bull flag here. And ultimately we're able to close very, very close to that $100 level, or at least, well, we are exactly 3 cents away from it. The only problem here is that if you do break over 150, there's a huge amount of sellers on 2 SMAs that I'm looking at here. So the daily 200 and the daily 50 here. All right, so we have these 2 SMAs that are going to be a huge caveat to the success of a breakout over $100.50. All right, but just keep a general thought of the fact that we're looking at a nice inverted head and shoulders chart pattern, which is inherently a bullish chart pattern. So in order for us to really get a full breakout and kind of not be distracted by any type of selling that comes in between the daily 200 and the daily 50, is that we move sideways a little bit more between 99 and 100.50, and then we break out. So again, just like Starbucks, I wanted to ideally see 2 to 3 days of consolidation, 2 to 3 more days of consolidation where we move sideways between 99 to 100.50. I mean, we've been doing that for the past 5 days here, so why not just continue to do that, right? So if we do see that ideal consolidation and we continue to respect this descending level of resistance, or this neckline of this inverted head and shoulders chart pattern, and the resistance level at 100.50, then most likely we can have a very, very nice breakout to the upside, as eventually the 10 SMA will catch up to the price, and we will see a retest of the price on the 10 SMA very, very soon. So just like with Starbucks or Adriana that you submitted here, we will eventually see the 10 SMA catching up, and I would expect the price to be continuously consolidating before we see the actual retest, and then we get that bounce off of that 10 SMA after the initial retest, and then we break out. All right, so that's kind of the ideal situation that you want to be looking forward for Disney and Starbucks. Okay, Google is a bit different again, because we have already pivoted higher with the higher high, higher low, right? So we have a higher low here, higher high right here, and then another higher low here, and then another higher high that ended up forming today. So very, very typical uptrend. All right, so if I draw it out here, so we have a nice higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and higher high, and possibly another higher low to form, right? And if we do see that higher low forming again, we can most likely come back down to around 103.50 to 104, and then we bounce again and possibly reuse 108 as another level of resistance, and maybe that might be where we see a pause in the uptrend, and then we start heading lower for another intermittent a very, very short intermittent pullback before we see another larger move to the upside. So again, everything is a cycle here, right? And in this case, we'll be seeing, basically, after a nice uptrend with higher highs and higher lows, we might flip to a lower highs and lower low situation to have a nice pullback. Okay. So Google, Disney, Starbucks, all great names to be looking at next week especially next week, which is a full week, Adriana. So good job on taking these tickers, and hopefully this analysis was very, very useful for you. Hopefully it's going to be actually useful and applicable next week when the market is open for a full 5 trading day week. Okay. And Adriana, thank you so much for being such a fervent watcher of the live stream. I mean, you've been providing so many great tickers for me to go over. And thank you so much for even interacting in the chat as well. I mean, that means the world to me, and always to everyone here as well, and everyone who has come in. Thank you guys for the likes. I'm already at 6 likes. I believe I was at like 4 or 5 before I even started. So that's amazing to see. Thank you very much for your support. Your continued support is always, always welcome. And if you guys aren't subscribed yet to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. And if you're liking this technical analysis video and the overall kind of insight into what we can see for next week, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. All right. If that's it for now, I will end the live stream as we are hitting almost that 40-minute mark. Have a great rest of your weekend. We have a long weekend ahead of us, as tomorrow is Good Friday and the market will be closed. But overall, have a great and safe long weekend, and I'll see you guys on the next live stream. Will be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Have a great rest of your night and good luck next week.